What's up, everybody? Jordan Miller here with Run to Gun, here with my really good friend, technically co-worker, because he is our other exercise professional here at Run to Gun, Zach Ely. What's up, my man?
Just good morning here in South Dakota. Got a little snow flurries last night and
May
8th, so that's always exciting. So
yeah, Zach, tell us. It's been a little while. We both had job changes with our day jobs here about 18 months ago. And then you again with a little bit of career change here this last 6 months, right?
Yeah.
And so we used to see each other every single day when we were training at a big gym here in Sioux Falls. Worked together for a number of years. Now we really don't see each other every day, so it's been a little while.
Yeah.
So catch us up a little bit about what you've been up to. Give us some background, where you're from, how you got involved in sports, hunting. Let's talk about that.
Yeah. I guess I grew up here in South Dakota. I was born down in Vermilion and went to West Central High School in Hartford, South Dakota, if you know where that's at. About a half hour here from where Jordan is. And my folks worked with Cambridge State for Christ, it's now Crew, and we lived overseas actually for 6 years in the country of Mongolia. So that was a really cool experience. Some really interesting, experiences that you couldn't get in the United States here. It was cool to kind of have a different worldview as well. We moved back when I was going into 7th grade. Went to a small school at Dakota State. Just in athletics my whole life. Got into exercise science. Started with Jordan. He actually hired me at the gym in Sioux Falls. And then, we saw each other every single day. Always talked about going on hunts and whatnot. And
Yeah.
finally made that happen a couple summers ago. So, yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy. Zach definitely, when I did hire him, definitely an obvious knowledge and expertise in movement patterns, definitely a technician when it comes to exercise, and it was very good at teaching clients, teaching individuals how to just move properly, and you had the techniques and way to teach people how to move right. It was always pretty awesome. We both very strong-willed dudes, so we have the same personality, so we could always we were really good friends, and we could also butt heads with each other the whole time. But it was funny because we could butt heads with each other 1 second and still be best friends 2 seconds later. So it was a pretty cool relationship that we had.
Yeah, we'd have our moments of calling the other one out for something, not necessarily training wise, but just giving each other the hard time or just kind of opposing the other one's viewpoint. And
Yep.
And then there was a couple times I think we were generally mad at each other, but 2 minutes later we're cool with it. So
it was one of those things where you're mad, but you'd say it kind of joking, but you totally meant it when you said it, kind of thing. Oh, it was just good. It was good. It was good. Just dude relationship, but
it was hard because I knew Jordan never trolled anyone, but he would troll, but he wasn't actually trolling. He was really serious with it, but he just made it sound like he was trying to troll you. And I knew that, so that's it was fun though. That was a good year and a half, 2 years there.
Yeah, it was awesome. And one of the years then I came in, it was early June, or late, it was actually late May, and I was like, dude, did you apply for South Dakota elk? And you were like, no, I haven't done that. And I was like, do you have any preference points for prairie? And you were like, no, dude. I'm like, dude, you want to just put in for a cow tag? I'm like, just so you know, if you do draw it, you can't, you have the 9-year probation.
Yep.
But I was like, you want to go shoot a cow elk? There's, back then it was a little over 50% odds that you were going to pull that tag. It was actually almost guaranteed.
Yeah.
Now it's not like that.
Remember, I called my wife and I was like, hey, do you care if I apply for this tag? I'm like, 50-50 shot, I get it. She's like, well, wouldn't it look better on his show if he got to take a female out to shoot it? But she was, let's see, at that point, she would have been 4 months pregnant, I want to say.
Yeah.
She's like, by July or June, whenever it was, July.
Yep, mid-July season.
Mid to late July. She's like, I don't know if I'm really going to want to walk that far. And so she's like, yeah, you go ahead and apply. And then I think that was the deadline was that day. So
it was that
day. A couple days later, we got back that I drew the tag. So. And
then it was kind of hilarious because Austin had applied for that for 2 years.
Oh, yeah.
He didn't draw it. I don't know. He was the one. There was always 2 guys because back then there was 8 tags and 12 applicants every year.
Yeah, I think there was.
8.
I think there was
18
the year that I applied.
Yep, yeah. And he still didn't pull the tag, and you just went in, pulled it.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, your wife was a little pregnant by then, and actually I was kind of banking on her this year to go do that.
Yeah,
and we're at the same point again.
Yep, we got number 2 coming in November, so
Yeah.
I know it's terrible planning with deer season, but it was just time-wise, that's what worked out. And it's funny, she gave birth the 25th of October to our son Gunner, and she went deer hunting the opening weekend. Not the split season, but the first regular season weekend. So I don't know if it was
like
what,
the
2.5 weeks later or something like that. And she hobbled up the hill and she went about 100 yards and she was out of breath. It was funny, but she shot a nice buck the first morning.
She did.
Yeah.
It's funny because after our first kid, Eva was born November 6th, and I made Amy go out hunting then on like the 20-something of November as well. That was all the way back in season 2, man.
Yeah.
So it's good. It's awesome.
Yeah. So I told her, she's like, I guess I don't think I'm going to be deer hunting this fall. And I said, whatever, you just go out Thanksgiving, go out the last weekend. And
yeah.
So, yeah,
I'll
no, I'm
watch the
excited.
blind.
Yeah, I'm excited. We'll see with the new draw system how things work out, but
yeah,
I should draw any deer this year. There's a couple muleys out there I've been looking at. So,
dude, and you've been waiting for that any deer tag for a little while. It's that unit that you hunt is a pretty preferred unit, so it's tough to draw that any deer tag. You can get that whitetail tag.
You got to have at least 2 preference points, otherwise you don't have a shot. So,
right.
But no, this year I'll have 2, and I think a pretty good chance of drawing it. And I'd be interesting to go back out once the season gets closer and do some scouting and see what we got out there. So
yeah,
it's kind of nice. Even within a couple mile span, we got a good mix of whitetail and muleys. So it's cool to have that any deer tag in case you see a monster. So
hey, you're lucky you'll draw the any deer tag and you'll see a monster whitetail that tempts you on the first day.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
That's totally what will happen.
Or I'll go out there and they'll see mule deer and there won't be a big enough one to shoot, and then next year there'll be a big one out there and I won't have it. So yeah,
exactly.
But.
So yeah, okay. We talked a little bit about the whitetail hunting last weekend. Was it last weekend you were out turkey hunting? The weekend before?
Nope, last weekend.
And you shot a really nice turkey. Tell us.
Yeah.
You're actually pretty passionate, you and your dad, about turkey hunting and waterfowl. It's kind of. That's how you kind of got started, right?
My background, my dad, when we moved back from Mongolia, I was 12, so I did the hunter safety course, and he was a big waterfowl hunter. Big waterfowl hunter, turkey hunter, he'd been doing that. And so, I mean, that's just one of those things that as a hunter, if you get to do it with family, that's one of the, it's not always about, shooting something or, but just the time you get to spend with family. So it was cool growing up, with him teaching me an ethical way to hunt and actually being a conservationist and managing wildlife and stuff. And so I mainly waterfowl hunted for my teenage years and turkey hunted every spring. So I think there's something cool about having a big gobbler, full strut coming into your decoy, is that it gets the blood pumping. I wish I could do it archery. I haven't got into archery yet, but I'm looking forward to doing that because that's kind of the next step. I've always just done shotgun for turkeys. And so we were out last weekend out west, and it's funny because when I met my wife, we started talking about hunting, and I knew instantly when she said she started showing me pictures of the deer she shot. I was like, "Yep, this is the one."
Yeah. You gotta ring her up, dude.
Yeah. So it's funny, the private landowner my dad got to know, and that's where we turkey hunted growing up, is actually only about 8 miles from where my wife's stepdad's parents' land is. So, I mean, they drive right past where we hunt every time they drive out there. So we were out there. I was actually over on her folks' land. I had hunted our land the opening weekend and came back last weekend. And we're just mainly going to do some scouting, new kind of general area where there are a lot of birds were. I had 4 nice toms kind of come by. Some of them were more worried about running the other one off, but we had a couple come in at 8:30 at night. It was a beautiful night, gorgeous sunset. It was calm. It was kind of like you were saying on your Instagram story the other day, where you had that porcupine you wanted to shoot, but you just, it was so calm. It was such a nice evening. You just didn't want to ruin the quiet.
I know, it was perfect.
That's what I felt as these turkeys were coming in, and we get all Merriam's turkeys out there. Occasionally we'll get one that's maybe kind of mixed with an Eastern, but all Merriam, so not quite as big. Most of the turkeys we shoot are 18, 19 pounds. This one was 22.3. 22 pounds, 3 ounces,
Totally.
Yeah. Most of the beards anywhere from high 8s to mid 9s. This was a 10-inch beard. Spurs were average, 7/8 of an inch on both of them.
Okay.
But for how big it was, I mean, it was
Your
the
biggest turkey?
Yeah, by over 2 pounds. So
Wow.
yeah, it was fun.
And I saw, like, on your Instagram, you posted a shot here the other day that you had, a couple, like, your display shots. You actually had a little bit of footage of him working working on the decoys?
I've got a couple GoPros I was running, and when my dad and I hunt together, we usually film those hunts. He's got same camera you do.
Yep.
And it's always fun to go back and watch that footage and film and stuff. But we had split up to scout that night, so I just had my phone out, and getting just some phone footage, and it actually turned out pretty well. But it was cool to have them come in, and you can hear them when they ruffle their feathers up and strut. And it's if you haven't done it and you have the opportunity to turkey hunt, I recommend it. It's a blast getting turkeys in.
I need to have I need to just go out with you because I've turkey hunted a little bit when I was younger. And I tried it. I just have never gotten it. I'm so impatient when it comes to calling and stuff. I love to just do the run and gun thing.
Yep.
And you always think
which is hard with turkeys because then you end up spooking them.
It's going to be easy, and it is. Their eyesight is so good.
There's been times I've been buried in a tree and I don't know how they see you, but they do, and it's ridiculous. And I'm like, you get out and you look and you're like, I don't know what else I could have done.
Yeah.
And they're smart. You see them driving around all the time and they're right by the road, and you're like, wow, that'd be so easy to shoot one of those. But it can be tough. Tough to pattern them a little bit, and tough. Sometimes they really don't want to respond to a call. Mm-hmm. And it's fun though when they come in full strut at 10 or 15 yards.
Pretty exciting.
Gets the blood flowing. Yeah.
We need to do that next spring together. Just go out and maybe call some in and film an episode together. Yeah. Laying down 2 or 3 turkeys would be pretty fun. Just take a week off and just go try to lay down 4 turkeys, 5 turkeys or something between. Out on the prairie, maybe out in the hills.
I've got some other connections out.
Smoke some.
I've got another connection that we could get. You can buy tags over the table, double tags.
Mm-hmm.
My brother-in-law actually just shot one a couple weeks ago with one of those. So if we wanted to get a couple, we could
get some good
footage.
Gosh,
Yeah.
Now I'm kind of excited. I wish we would have done that this year.
Yeah,
but it's always so busy, man. It's like we start growing up and things get busy.
Yeah. Yeah. I just got into deer hunting 5 years ago. I think the second year that I started hunting. My dad didn't do a ton of deer hunting growing up. He grew up in Minnesota, and they've got their shotgun season and stuff.
Yep.
His grandpa got him into hunting, but his grandpa's brother was shot and killed when they were deer hunting when he was little, so his grandpa quit deer hunting at that point.
Sure.
So my dad applied one season, and he shot a nice 5x5 in Minnesota, but he just didn't do much of it. So once I met, my wife, and that was their big thing on her family was the deer hunting. It was nice, and fortunate enough to let them bring me out, and they couldn't really say no once we got married. They bring me out, but
gotta make room for this other guy.
Yeah, so it's been nice to go out, and they've got some nice land. It's in a good location, so
yeah.
So
you sent me photos while you're out there, and I'm like, oh, that would be fun. So you have a couple nice ridges with some pretty sweet. Big cuts that run through the creek down there.
They've got a pretty good setup. They've got a fair amount of land, so you got some different options on what to do.
Good.
Archery wise, there's some good spots for archery, good spots to sit up with the rifle. So
and you're planning on dabbling in the archery here someday?
I want to, yeah. I don't know anybody that archery hunts, so I'm gonna have a hard time getting a start in that. So
yeah, you don't know anybody.
No. So I don't have really any land and connections right around Sioux Falls here. So time wise, with some job changes and with another kid coming and stuff, it's hard in the fall.
Yeah.
With all the waterfowl hunting that I do, I can't just run out to the stand every morning. So
you can only have so many hobbies.
Yeah, exactly. And if I get into something, I like to do it well and get good at it. So it's not something I want to just put my time towards 100 different things. I kind of like to focus on a few. So, but it'd be exciting to shoot just like getting a turkey at 20 yards versus shooting one at 200. Same thing with a deer. I mean, the adrenaline rush is way different when you shoot one with a bow, than you would with a rifle at 300. Not to discredit shooting one with a rifle, because that's all I've done, but there's something special about being that close.
It's a different pursuit.
I think there's a challenge to it as well.
Yep.
It's way more challenging, which is fun. It's way more of a achievement when you're able to do that. So
yeah. Well, and I think for me doing both, I definitely see the patience in both the rifle and the archery, because it's definitely needed. Like what I do with rifle sometimes can be even more challenging just because of the pressure of the hunters.
Yeah.
Finding a deer that I want to actually shoot, it can be just as challenging as archery. Whereas when I'm archery hunting, a lot of times I'm not running into anybody, or if I do, it's not as many people.
Yeah.
But with the archery, it's like I could see the same couple deer for several days that I don't even pursue because they don't bed in the right spot for me to stalk and kill one or get a shot at one. So it's like the patience is just different. It's you might see a deer you want to shoot on a day, but you don't even pursue it because you're just gonna blow it out of the area because you're not gonna get in for a shot.
Yeah, no,
so
that is good.
It's
there too,
definitely a different pursuit. So, and you got to shoot. So what was it? Was it season 4 that you shot the elk then that we drew, or was that season 5? I can't remember. I think it was season 5.
It'd have been summer of 2017.
Yeah. So I believe, dude, I think we did that season 5. I get my seasons so mixed up, but I'm pretty sure maybe it was season 4, dude, that we shot the elk. We're gonna look it up on the YouTube channel now, but
I feel like it was 5.
Yeah.
Because you had just wrapped up season 6, right?
I just wrapped up season 6. I shot this in season 5. And so did you shoot that yours the same year as I shot that? Man, I cannot remember.
I think so, because Austin went out. Austin went out the year after I did, which was last summer.
Yeah, so yours was season 5. So yeah, you guys can check out Zach's elk hunt. So tell us a little about that. We drew it. We kind of dabbled into that. We changed.
Yeah,
we veered off.
It was great for me because it's something where if I was just to go out west and scout and put in that time and then go back out and hunt and have to make connections with landowners, it was super convenient and awesome to be able to go out with Jordan and the Run to Gun crew and Matthew and Matt and stuff. And so we went out. I think we just picked a weekend. Went out on a Thursday maybe.
Yep, we went on Thursday nights. We had a Friday, Saturday, Sunday in case we needed the extended.
Yeah, and you kind of knew because I think your dad had shot one the year before.
Yep, and Amy had shot one the year before on that.
So you kind of had some history out there.
Yep.
So yeah, we went out and scouted, and we didn't even scout, did we? No. We went out, we sighted in the rifle. You knew where things were at. We went out that first evening. They weren't in the location you thought they were, but they were still on the land we had access to. So we made a stock over there. We spotted those from a long ways away.
And a bunch of them, like 50,
there was
60.
70. I want to say 75.
Yeah, it's in
roughly.
It's in the show.
They were a long ways away, and Matthew did a really good job filming that. So we made a pretty long stock over there, and kind of had to go quick because they were kind of close to the edge of the property. And
some were actually, the herbs kind of split.
They were split. Yeah, some of them were on the other side of the fence. So found a large, the biggest cow that we could there, and made a good shot on her. It was a fun pack out though. We were a couple miles from the truck, probably over 2 miles from the truck. So it was. I'm glad that didn't come over. So it was really cool to be there in that moment and have just this wall of black clouds that luckily stayed east of us. But that was a very cool experience. I'm excited to apply and
it was a pretty wet summer, so the landscape was gorgeous.
Yes, it was.
It's green. Like it's pretty cool to contrast in that episode if you have a chance to check that out on the Run to Gun YouTube channel.
Yeah.
It's pretty neat, and the stock was cool. How we had to get around them with the wind. It was awesome, and if you want to see a big old herd of 70-some elk on the prairie, something you don't see, it's just a different feel. And in South Dakota, way back in the day, that's where all the elk were. They weren't out in the Black Hills for the most part. Like, prominently, they were on the prairie like that.
It was like one of those big herds you would find out in Custer somewhere out in the prairie. Yeah, there was a lot of them. That was a really fun experience. Just the challenge of the pack out and everything too makes it memorable. So
we loaded you up with a couple of the hinds.
Yeah, I took 2 quarters, but I mean that's partly why I find importance in staying, just keeping yourself physical fitness wise, staying in shape.
Yeah,
I didn't have to. I knew we were going to be walking a ways. I knew we'd have to pack something out if I shot one. I didn't have to do any extra training or anything leading up to that, just because of my training now. And even like the turkey hunts, where I shot my turkey hunt, it wasn't a ton of work, but on the other land that we had hunted previous weekends, there's a lot of up and down. I mean, there's some big hills, and you get down in the bottom, and you're walking up a pretty steep grade for a long time.
And you actually put on some miles.
And you got a vest on, if you're going to be down there. That's kind of where some of the big times are, so it's a lot of work to get down there, and it's challenging, but you end up doing a lot of walking on there. And you got a vest on, you got a couple decoys over your shoulder, your gun, so it's not like you're just carrying around in a t-shirt, plus you got to have your camo on. And both weekends it was 70 and 80 degrees. It was the warmest days we've had, happened to be the weekends I hunted. So
it was actually spring days.
It gets warm in a hurry, and it's definitely it wears you out.
Yeah,
So.
and if you haven't been doing anything, something simple like that, like to the guys who you're fit and you're in shape and you're listening to this, it doesn't sound like anything because it's really not as much. But if you're kind of stagnant, you haven't been doing well, you haven't been eating well, like those little things on a weekend can wear you out, and it's not as enjoyable.
And I'm not going to say like the pack out or the walk-in turkey hunting was easy, but I mean, it was still challenging. I mean, you still had to stop and give your legs a rest because they're on fire. Walking up a hill,
Yeah.
but it definitely wasn't something that was like, well, I don't know if I can go do this because I don't know if I'm able to walk far enough, or it limits where you're able to go just because you're not able to get there.
Yeah, and I've talked to several guys out in the hills that the hills can be a challenging turkey hunt sometimes. They don't answer to calls as much. That it's more of a challenging hunt. You actually have to get out, walk, put on some miles on the boots to find some turkeys. And so many guys just drive. They just drive gravel roads, which it can work sometimes. But then you're a whole weekend in.
To me, the experience isn't as fun. They're either if they're not,
nailed it.
To me, it's the most enjoyable when you're sitting there and you hear them, a half mile off gobbling, and they're working closer because that anticipation builds. It's not like a quick hop out, boom, it's over. There really wasn't that build up, but like you were saying, if they're not responding to calls, if you got to walk and find them and see where they're going and just kind of get in their travel path, because it's very unlike you can just go and sneak up on one. There's certain situations that the terrain would have to be perfect to get that close. They can hear and see so well.
Right.
They see you coming long before you ever see them, especially if they're in trees. So you have to walk and get around in front of them sometimes to kind of get in their travel path. And that's when you put on a lot of miles walking doing that. So
right, and like what you nailed is just that experience. Like, can you fill that tag by just driving some back dirt roads? Yeah, you can, But I think that the opportunity, the experience, what that hunt is. I know for you and I, and the hunt's different for everybody. But I know that experience is that's what makes it so that you want to keep doing it.
Yeah,
so much
absolutely.
more worth it.
And I think that's where, what started Run to Gun initially, of developing, exercise and workout programs for people that, maybe they're doing a little bit of exercise and they're not doing any, but they have a passion for hunting, and they, have been applying for an elk tag for 10, 15 years, and now they draw it, and now it's time to go. You lay everything out so well that people know, the plan is right there. He's so experienced in it, he knows exactly what it's going to feel like to be out there in that situation, so he knows how to program your training. I think that was, when I've heard about that was like super, super cool, because for me with an athletic background, it was more of just the athletic performance training side of things, and to think about it more from a hunting perspective was unique. Yeah, and I think that's definitely something that sets us apart, is just, our experience out in the field. We're not living in the city doing one hunt a year. We spend 3 triple-digit days in the field a year. Between all of our stuff, all of our scouting, our hunting, everything. It's a long year every year, but it's just you find yourself back home and you're just hungry to be back out there. It's just where it's at for us. So we're in that slow season now. It's like the snow goose season wraps up, then it's turkey season, and then it's 3 months and nothing until like early goose. Which is fine because you can enjoy summer and stuff too, but there's like that lull of, once hunting season starts in the fall, between waterfowl and everything else and pheasant and everything, it's like just continuous until now.
Yeah,
which is cool. It's awesome what South Dakota has to offer season-wise.
And that's where I always have, used the training side of things to bridge that gap. Mm-hmm. As you're drawing the tags this time of year, start thinking about that nutrition and the training, and it just helps you feel a purpose in these in-between months, between your ending of the hunting seasons and the beginning of the next. You can fill that void to better yourself, just obviously for hunting, but just overall to live a higher quality life, which makes those experiences that we were talking about that much more rich. Yeah. And that's just my opinion on the training side of things. And it's just, I know for you and I, has just become definitely part of our lifestyle, in the sense of I don't have to think about, I need to go train. It's just part of my day now. It's what I want. Yeah. I want to make a little time for it. Sometimes it's difficult, especially now 2 kids. You're dealing with that too now. Second on the way, a full-time job, all your extracurricular, your own athletic ambitions. You do a ton of CrossFit. The rigors of that, staying healthy, dealing with little nicks, injuries, mishaps that just happen with training, keeping the body young and healthy at the same time is challenging. But it's like at the end of the day, you can't judge yourself on any of it because you're doing so much compared to the average person when it comes to physical activity.
Right.
It's just our expectations are so high for our performance.
Yeah.
You actually, let's dive into that a little bit. You actually dealt with a little bit of a back. I wouldn't even call it an injury. It was just like an imbalance, right? Let's walk through that.
This summer, let's see, and we got about a month and a half. I'm actually going to do a post on it because it's gotten a lot better. I'll do a year difference.
Okay.
It was tough. It was humbling because as a trainer and somebody that really focused on movement patterns, I could look at a client, put them through different exercises or stretches and assess, okay, here's where we have an imbalance or here's where we're not moving right. But I think I fell into that trap of, because I know how to do that with somebody else, I'm moving fine, even though I wasn't necessarily assessing myself all the time. If I would video assess something, sometimes it looked pretty good or it looked solid, so then I wouldn't necessarily change. And when you don't have somebody there watching you, like I would be watching a client, I just was missing things. And I had a hamstring injury from, that was an indoor football injury. And then I had a hip injury from a training injury about, 7 months apart. Mm-hmm. And the hamstring was a fairly lingering issue for a while. And then the hip was the opposite, like hip flexor groin area. So I was just starting to move improperly just to kind of still be able to train, even though I was tight and had some mobility issues then. And finally I did some more video analysis of it, and my back got to the point where I couldn't really train. It wasn't my back necessarily, but it was some hip issues that led to back pain. And it got to the point where, I couldn't pull a deadlift off the floor that was 50% of my 1 rep max without wanting to just fall over afterward. And I was like, I know it's not my back. So I took quite a bit of time to kind of reassess. And this was about last June, July. We did a CrossFit competition the end of June. And after that, I took about a month and a half where I wasn't squatting heavy weight. And it was tough because I had moved wrong for so long.
Yeah.
You think about a motion that I had done thousands of times, and your body just gets ingrained to that movement pattern.
Yep.
And so trying to break those was tough, but I've been semi-healthy. I've had some little tweaks this year so far. With my new job, I've been having to drive and sit a lot, which has been different. I would much rather stand all day or be moving around all day than having to sit to drive to clients and stuff. But I think just some of that, I try to push it. I like to work hard at the gym. It's who I am when I get in there. I like to push myself and challenge myself and try to be the best that I can be, so I probably push a little too hard sometimes when I've,
right.
When stuff is tight or stuff's, I need to spend probably more time.
Getting those glutes fired up again after sitting so much.
Or just realize, today's not the day to, work at 90% of something,
right.
Tone it back a little bit. And I think that's where some recent stuff's come, just hip-wise, quad-wise, just dumb stuff that backs you up a week or two and you're good to go again. But
I had to deal with the same thing, like after, the job change where I was traveling more, like I was out in LA working for a week and I flew out there and I got into a workout right when I got there, tweaked my back, and then did the same thing. I had to go to Salt Lake City, same thing, got in that night. Yeah. Messed up my back a little bit. And it sets you back for like 10 to 14 days kind of thing, just getting back to that 100%. And I'm like, I just had to figure out that, hey, when I have those travel days, when I go into the gym that night, it's extra mobility, extra core and glute activation, and then way lighter moves, just get the body moving. And then that next day, I'm good to go.
Right.
But it's just like, we're pretty young guys, like we're 30 and under, and you just want to go. Like you said, you just want to, want to train hard, but you have to learn, hey, like on those days where, for us it's those travel days, or, for you it might just be, a different day where you're heavy on a work day, you're sitting more, your nutrition's a little off, your hydration's a little off, you may have to just adjust that training a touch. It's because remember, you're in this for the long game.
Absolutely.
Obviously, you have the hunting season coming up, or you have a CrossFit competition coming up. At the end of the day, it's like I tell myself this all the time. I'm like, well, I'm a little tight today. I'm not going to be able to squat as much. I'm kind of probably going to look like a pansy in the gym squatting the 135. But it's like, I want to do this forever. So if I can squat 135 and do it well and do it perfect, and I can do that until I'm 75, 80 years old, I'd rather be able to do that than not.
And that yesterday, I work out, do CrossFit style workouts, have for a year and a half now. And it's nice because it kind of scratches my competitive itch. There's a lot of local competitions you can do. And that's not all what CrossFit is. CrossFit is so much more focused on health and just any everyday American that's maybe never really worked out consistently in their life. Like, it's perfect from that all the way up to somebody that is really serious about it.
And it has a great family aspect to it.
The community is awesome. To be able to go in there and get support from so many other people, the coaches, it's a very unique thing. You know, I know right away, everybody saw like these super competitive athletes doing these movements that
and those are the ones
were so different from just your traditional go to the gym, Globo gym and do your bodybuilding movements. It was like, oh, it's just going to hurt everybody. I've had more injuries in track than I ever did in CrossFit.
Yep.
Way more injuries in football than I ever did in CrossFit. And that's doing it 5-6 days a week, fairly competitive, moving
a lot
fairly
of weight.
So, but for somebody that's just wanting to get in shape and have that community and that support and just something different than go and do some cardio and sit on a machine, it's so fun. I love it. It's the community, like you said, is awesome. Yeah,
and I actually fell into doing and learning movements, and I'm still learning so many of the movements because of you and being around you so much that I was getting so bored of the way I was training that I was like, dude, I want to learn how to do a barbell snatch. And it actually started with a dumbbell snatch. I was like, I had done some because I was a college athlete, but I just didn't ever get into it like you. Yeah. And then just hanging around you at the gym, it was more or less a competitive thing where it was like, well, Zach's doing some of that, I want to learn how to do some of that. And so it was one of those things I started kind of falling into it, and then I developed a style of training where I call it like undulated CrossFit, where I key in different styles of powerlifting movements at a heavy weight with some Olympic lifting, with some conditioning, with some bodybuilding style of things that all rotate with each other to get in some of the best of all worlds for just some great conditioning, great strength work. And it works extremely well.
Yeah, it does. I've seen some very cool transformations of people that were maybe just weren't physically active. Maybe they had eating issues, either on the spectrum of being very overweight or having more on the anorexic side of things, eating issue-wise, and just body image perspective. I've seen a lot of cool stuff just with being in the gym in Sioux Falls and just the changes people have been able to make. 90% of the people there, they're not, if you see anything of the CrossFit games or of like these high level competitions, I mean, that's the 1% of CrossFit. That's not what CrossFit really is.
Yeah, if you go into a CrossFit box,
that's not, you're not going to walk in there and that's going to be every single person in there. Right. Chances are you're going to walk in there and 75% of people are going to look just like you.
Yep.
Like, it's not what a lot of the media is portrayed on from that and what people see with the games. And that's why CrossFit actually kind of made a shift with that with the games this year to get back towards more focus on the health side of things and getting people off medication and that sort of thing. And it's, that's the goal of what fitness is in the health industry should be, and it's just a different avenue to do it, and it's cool. But I know what I was going to say. Yesterday I tweaked again, I traveled, I was out in Rapid City, and it would have been a PR and a snatch, and I tweaked my my hip flexor a little bit. It wasn't to the point where I went and box squatted afterward, like it wasn't that bad. But yesterday we had a squat thing, and I stopped at 155.
Yep.
Usually
you can walk into the gym and throw on 155 and just went for reps.
It was like, and it was a higher rep scheme stuff, but with the CrossFit gym, they've got a thing where everybody records their progress on stuff.
Sure.
But you can go look at like what people posted for weights that day. I'm like usually towards the top. I was like next to the bottom on it that day, and I'm like, you know what? I usually I wouldn't post it, but I'm like, you know what? Coming back from a very minor injury, I'm just gonna post this. I'm not like.
Not gonna be too proud.
It's not a pride thing anymore. Yeah. It's like I got to come back from this, and a couple weeks I'll be back to where I was. But
it's cool.
It was like I just kind of knew I needed to. One of those things you kind of humble yourself a little bit and say, it's what it is. It's all I can do today.
Yeah.
So,
and that's that is what training and exercise and health is. It's just, hey, Usain Bolt doesn't run a PR 100 every time he steps on the track. Like, you're not going to perform your absolute best every time you go to the gym. Like, it's just one of those things you have to do your best that you can do that day, and stay consistent with it. Don't quit after 3 weeks, and then it's just make it part of your life. Make eating well part of your life. Making good decisions and having discipline. And I have to remind myself that all the time with things, to just have discipline. Like, I will say that to myself multiple times a day when something comes up. Like, just have some discipline, man.
Yeah.
Like, how are you an oak, dude? Are you an oak tree? Or are you just a little weed, dude? Yeah. Like, it's just, you got to make good decisions and have some discipline, and those things just carry over, and that's what I love about fitness, because it builds discipline that carries over into so many different areas of your life. Yeah. And that's why I think I've enriched myself with it so much, and have been able to work with so many people over the last 9 years, I guess, of doing this, and it's been pretty cool.
Yeah.
So let's end with this, dude. Tell me, you're a supplement guy. I love supplements, learning about them, learning about ingredients. Give me and our viewers, what's your favorite ingredients that you think people can benefit from a supplement wise? Favorite ingredients. Not even necessarily.
We'll go this route. The most impactful, if you were going to take like 1 or 2 supplements.
Okay.
Can we do that?
Yep, let's do it.
So most people, I would say a protein shake would be number 1, or a protein powder would be number 1. Reason being for that, a lot of people, if they do a snack in the day or they're eating a meal, they can find, a carb or a healthy fat. But oftentimes, if they try to find a snack for protein, or that's something that's not from like meat, generally it's going to have a lot of unhealthy fat, extra fat that they don't need, carbs or sugars in along with it.
Or
but also or very processed, or for recovery as well. If you're just leaving the gym and you're not eating for 2 hours, I mean, you gotta, in order for your muscle tissue to repair, you have to have enough leucine to activate protein synthesis. So if you're not going and eating right away or getting a protein shake in, you're minimizing your recovery. So that would be probably the most important.
Okay. So utilize it with your snack and utilizing it post-workout.
Just to make your nutrition cleaner and for recovery would be 2 of the big things. Okay. I mean, there's so many. I have a lot of favorites.
You got one, you get one left.
Okay, I'm going to say creatine just because in high school I thought creatine was terrible for you. I thought it was steroids.
Yeah.
I thought creatine was going to just give you fake muscles, and as soon as you stop taking it, you're going to lose everything.
It make you pee hot on a drug test.
That is going to screw up your kidneys, all this stuff. But it's also, I think, still taken very...
people don't know about it.
People don't necessarily know about it. So creatine monohydrate, or like Creapure creatine, is a patented form that's pure. 5 grams a day on average is what you should intake. Now, extra is not going to hurt you, but taking 25 grams a day for 2 weeks to load it, people say, they get bloated, or I gained a bunch of weight, and as soon as I stopped taking it, I lost it all. Yeah, because you're probably taking an inexpensive creatine that's not pure, and you're taking way too much of it that you don't need. It's not going to be harmful to your kidneys at that amount, but it's not necessary. So creatine is going to get stored, in muscle tissue. You're going to help bring in more water to that cell. There's a lot, I won't get into all the physiological side of creatine, but it's going to help with your muscle recovery as well. Going to help with performance, power output, yeah. So I supplement it pre and then post-workout is how I get my 5 grams in a day. If I'm doing a lot of training, I usually maybe do a day or 2 a week where I throw an extra 5 grams in. Just consistency with it. But I would say protein, creatine. Yeah. And you can get into a whole ton of different stuff.
And creatine is actually the most studied ingredient ever when it comes to all the supplement side of things. So it's pretty dang safe. There's nothing there that's shown to have any detrimental, and there's actually studies out now showing cognitive benefits to creatine. It's crazy. They're finding more benefits to it. So that's Zach's question today. Can
I add a third one?
Fine.
Caffeine. You should. All the caffeine.
Get all the caffeine.
Get all the caffeine in. 8 Bang energy drinks a day.
I don't know.
No, don't do that. Don't do that. Black coffee.
Yep.
A little bit of creatine caffeine pre-workout. yeah, try to minimize it. Don't be like us when we were training way too early in the morning. And
Oh, dude, we would get up at 4:30, train till 8 at night, and yeah, there was a lot. Our milligrams of caffeine way too high, which actually like
long-term wise is detrimental.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I
Wouldn't
I
limit
wouldn't
that.
encourage that. Limit it. Use it to a little boost
Perform well.
pre-workout wise. Yeah. Keep yourself sharp. There's a lot of other things that can factor into your energy levels besides needing an energy drink. So
Yeah, exactly. So if you
Caffeine's
guys
good.
have questions on supplements, actually, Zach or myself, great resources to shoot some questions over to.
yeah.
With Zach, we talked a little bit about your turkey footage, some of your posts on Instagram. Where can the viewers find you on Instagram?
Ely Zach 3 is my Instagram handle. So
Ely
Yep.
Zach 3 ELY
ELYZACH and then 3. Yep.
Ely
Yep,
Zach
it's
3.
Instagram, so yeah.
Perfect. Thanks for jumping in today,
Absolutely.
coming down,
Yeah. it's
talking
fun.
just a little bit of hunting, fitness, CrossFit. Dude, I love it. Little supplements at the end there. All the hunts that we talked about today, actually, for the most part, are on the YouTube, on the Run to Gun YouTube channel. You guys can jump on there, view Zach's elk hunt. Hopefully, we have some turkey hunts here
View this elk hunt right
in the
here.
future. Yeah, dude, that's a good one. And we get to go, dude. I didn't. Have I told you we drew?
No,
I
you
drew that
drew?
hunt again. So
Yeah.
we're going back in September. It's like 121 days away. I have a little counter on my phone. It's nice.
Did you even do a counter when you were getting married on your phone?
No, but that wasn't a
You
thing
didn't have
though. It was
smartphones. You didn't have
2010,
smartphones
dude.
when you got married.
Exactly. Didn't even have that yet. So we got that coming up, which is just cool because it gives that little extra summer motivation to train hard. So we've been ramping it up here a little bit. I've actually had a couple 2-a-days where I did some strength in the morning, some conditioning at night. We are working on this is the first time this is going to be publicly announced right here. We're working on building a Run to Gun HQ. So the garage right now is going to go under transformation for home gym, cool little filming studio, so we can kick out more
Exclusive content right there, guys.
He knows the game. Exclusive content, some live, so you can actually jump in and do workouts. We'll have live workouts going on up there where you can jump in. Maybe we'll get Zach down here to do some workouts with us that you guys can jump in on live on Facebook, YouTube. So it's gonna be a lot of fun, a lot of cool things happening this summer, and we hope you guys follow along. So if you guys like this podcast, please drop a review, drop a rating on whatever platform you're using. iTunes, Spotify. We're on every single major platform out there for podcasts. So share it with a friend, screenshot it, put it up on Instagram, however you can get it out there. We always appreciate it from a growing brand perspective. And if you guys have questions, always drop a DM. Me and Zach are always happy to help, and we'll talk to you soon.